Hello and welcome back to the Shmuseum, where as usual we have a very busy day in front of us with two things in particular that are going to be going on. But let's have a quick update. Of course, the newest arrival here at the garage, the trusty Renault Clio, a tribute, and we've had loads of ideas for what we can do with that. So thank you to everyone who's put forward different suggestions so far. In terms of the other cars that are all lined up, everything just gathering a thin layer of dust at the moment. So we might need to do a bit of washing and tidying, perhaps some of that today, but fundamentally one of the main things we need to crack on with today involves the SLS AMG Black Series, and in particular taking it out to Cambridge Car Audio to finish the installation of the upgraded sound system. Now, we started with this car and this particular project at the tail end of last year. Unfortunately, while I was away for the extended trip in the US earlier this year, it picked up a bit of a fault and we had to get that sorted out. And unfortunately, the parts that we needed were on such serious back order, it took about 4 or 5 months to get those to Avant-Garde, where eventually we've been able to get it up and running. I've spent the last couple of weeks just making sure everything is perfect with it, and it's now going to be going back to Cambridge Car Audio to finish off the last remaining parts of the audio system, and I cannot wait to hear how that sounds, but we'll talk more about that later on. Now, the other thing that's very exciting for today, something that I've also been talking about for quite a while, is that we're going to be taking delivery in today's video, finally, here at the Shmuseum, of a very serious racing simulator. Now, we've been tidying some things up, moving some things around to install it just over in that section, that area behind us. But basically, this is part of the REMUS GT3 Championship 2021 Team Shme 150 versus Team Malmedie. There are going to be a series of different races. You guys can get involved as well, but we'll talk more about that when the sim is delivered shortly. So there are a few other things I'd like to show you through quickly. As I said, we'll be taking the SLS and one of the other cars, I'm not sure which yet, to go over to Cambridge Car Audio. Another busy day ahead of us here at the Shmuseum. If you're wondering about the sunglasses, my eye is nearly better. That won't be for much longer, but I want to come and show you something which was brought over the other day by AMPW Cars, who has made a LEGO Shmuseum. Now, I have a lot of LEGO that's going to eventually be on display here, but literally check this out. A mini garage. It opens up as well as it happens. We have LEGO Shme in here with his camera out, filming a video of something. We've got the garage doors that open up. We've got all of the different race suits, the mannequin-esque pieces in there, the office. This is just cool. I love this stuff. And as you can see from all of the piles here, I have accumulated quite some LEGO over the years. And when we've eventually built all of this and put it all on display on the mezzanine that will be part of the office, that's going to be really quite cool. I'm very excited about it. It's like a big toy room, right? The cars, the LEGO, the games, and everything else. Another thing that we haven't seen for a while, connected to the SLS Black Series, is my Centurion watch, which is quite literally the key to this car. This replaces the ordinary key that you would have in your pocket. We've got the red button on the side. If we press this once, the car unlocks, the door handles pop out so you can open up the gull wings, press it twice, the car locks, and apologies for the construction noise that you can hear in the background. In fact, given this is currently cold, I think we should have a little startup. This works wirelessly, keylessly, I should say, just on your wrist as you step into the car. Let's do this, and let's have a lovely startup sound from the V8 in the SLS. It sounds so good. This is like, if you can even hear me over it, one of the best sounds ever. I'm actually quite excited to drive the car today, to take it on out. Let's let that run for a moment. It's still plugged into the CTEC Smart Charger at this second. And a few more things before we get ready to head off.
Now, while Tim sorts a couple of bits and pieces out, as he mentioned, a few of the cars in here are in need of a bit of a clean. GT4 would be a very good case in point. I think the Senna is even worse than this one. Now, having a look, we probably only have enough supplies left to wash one car. So I think we're going to need to head to a shop, go and grab some bits and pieces, some snow foam and some other bits. And so I think for that, me and Brad are going to jump in a car and head over and go and get them.
But which car are we going to take?
I don't know. I mean, the default is obviously always the G63. It's the daily driver, it's the run around, it has more than enough space.
It's the car that does everything.
It does, and it has the noise, it has the performance. But I kind of feel like if we give them another cold start of the G63,
I think we're going to upset some people.
Yeah,
They've heard it many times in the last couple of weeks.
Yes, we have probably been over-rinsing that one and should leave it alone a little bit. Focus RS.
Again, we took it out fairly recently, a couple of weeks back, a month ago.
We did.
For some photos, which was good fun.
We got some lovely photos with that. And it is a good fun car, but I don't know if I'm really feeling changing gear today, which probably writes off the GR Yaris as well, which we also took out fairly recently and did the laser installation. So M3.
M3 could be a good choice, but
I think this is probably the next most logical shout, given that it's practical, it's got a big boot, it's got more than enough space. It's now been run in, it's had the running in service, so we could give it some stick down some lanes.
But it has been cleaned, and from the look of the weather today, I don't know if the rain is going to hold off.
Yes, this is one of the very few cars in here that is currently clean, so probably don't want to go throwing it straight into more dirt immediately.
And then next we have the good old C63.
I'd almost say no more discussion is required. I know, going back to the G63, I know we've featured this a lot on the channel recently, but any opportunity I get to get behind the wheel of this, I'm going to take. So I think we take this one.
I mean, you've got one key on you, Tom, right now.
I might happen to have a key on me, and
as far as I know,
truth be told, let's go. So we got the bits we need. We've got some snow foam, some microfibers, wheel brush, a few other bits and pieces that have died and just need to be replaced. But as you can see, we've not really got much room here because we've been and done a Tesco run as well and just kind of got some drinks, some water and some Coke, just as we've had a few guests around lately, so that's been going down. So we've restocked on that. So let's reorganise the boot, get this in, and we'll head on back to the Shmuseum. That's it, we're back on the way to the Shmuseum. We've stopped off and grabbed some refreshments. We've got all the cleaning bits we need, as well as said hello to the guys down at Whoops, which was a bit of a surprise because they really were not expecting us on this occasion. Now, we're heading towards some traffic, which I think always seems to be the case here, doesn't it? Is that we live...
As soon as me and you get in a car together, the roads decide they want to become gridlocked and slow us down.
That's when everyone wants to come out and play. But I think it's the perfect time for us to sit and think about what could be the next modification to this car. Now that we've unmodified the wheels and put them back to their OEM finish. Yeah, one thing that I've seen as well, looking around on eBay, is the gear stick surround, and I guess we call it ashtray cover or storage cover, that's in the gloss black here. I've managed to find those on eBay available in carbon fibre, so...
Obviously that would match with the factory you get on the dash here, and then obviously on the doors as well.
Yes, very much so, and we are just coming onto the M25 quickly, so I think that's a good excuse to get some of that glorious noise in. Sorry to interrupt.
But back to it, another thing you were mentioning to me, Tom, was about the gear stick as well.
Yes, the gear stick itself, speaking of the surround. Now, one thing I'd be quite keen to do, if you have a look at this, it's got the Alcantara gear stick with the Mercedes logo on it. Now, in the C63 507, which I'm quite a fan of, you actually get the AMG crest on top of the gear stick. So I think maybe at some point we need to look at a 507 gear stick so that we can have one with the AMG crest there, which I think is just a bit more fitting of a Black Series, and potentially the same for the steering wheel. Now on the 507 it actually has a full Alcantara wheel, so given that this is a used car, it's seen some life, maybe that's something else we could look into as well.
And I guess the final thing, which obviously has been mentioned by Tim in a couple of times and by us, the rear seat delete and the bucket seats that were a factory option that this car obviously doesn't have.
Obviously he does have a pair of bucket seats over at Opus in Germany, ready to go into the GTR Roadster. Do we convince him that this is a better place to put them, do the rear seat delete? Yes, you lose some practicality, you can no longer, you know, just throw things on the back seat, or even worse than that, you can no longer put more than two people in here, as we have done on a few occasions so far. It's definitely very handy for that, but again, it's a Black Series, it's not just a C63 coupe, so I think that's definitely something to look at some point in the future. But for now, we're on the M25, we are moving, so let's get to it, get back to the Shmuseum and see if we can get a car or two cleaned before the end of the day. We've made it back, so time to unload. I think we'll start with the car wash. Brad, do you want to make yourself useful?
I'll take that,
Grab
thank you.
And we will put this away. Now,
that just hasn't gone well, has it?
now, unfortunately, our car washing duties, shall we say, or my car washing duties, have been put on hold because just as we got back, it started to rain, which isn't ideal. And Brad decided to, well, he got a bit scared and he didn't want his car sitting in the rain, so it's now...
Apparently.
Yes, so that's now in here. We're going to have to wait and see if the rain disappears enough that we can get, probably, I think we'll get the Senna washed first, but let's get the car unloaded, get some drinks in the fridge, and then see how the weather goes. So last couple of bits to unload. Now, you may have noticed I parked the C63 the wrong way around. Two reasons for that. Number one, it was easier to unload. Number two, someone's pulling some funny faces over there and that made me laugh.
Time for something we have been waiting for then, a delivery of the Track Time 3Motion simulator currently being unloaded before we're going to get this set up. Not the easiest in the world, but this is what is part of the REMUS GT3 Championship. It's going to be installed just over here. We've made some space at the moment, moved out the Taycan, but this is the race sim, and this looks like it is going to be seriously cool. This is epic. We've just had everything set up. We've gone through some of the configuration. We've got it all in place. I've had a test go. This is going to be so addictive. I want to show you quickly through the simulator itself, but obviously the big news is the REMUS GT3 Championship, which is going to be beginning now, and I'll tell you all about that in just a moment. Let's start though having a bit of a tour through this, the Track Time 3Motion simulator. We have a bucket seat, very race car. We have the full GT3 style steering wheel. Come and look at this. Shifters on the back, it's quick release. You can actually swap it for different wheels. We've got all the configurable buttons. We've got traction toggles, different things you can move and change. Obviously, we've got race room loaded up at the moment on this very, very wide curved display. But this is all about the motion, having the shocks down here, having the motion hydraulics, having the ability to feel like being in a race car. This is what a man cave needs, something exactly like this. Honestly, we'll get onto it in just a moment. This is really cool, as you can tell. I'm very excited about it. Now, big news, the REMUS GT3 Championship 2021 with REMUS, the Austrian exhaust company, is going to be beginning now. Until the 16th of September, 14 sim racers can qualify and compete for my team in this virtual worldwide championship, the REMUS GT3 Championship 2021, which has a prize pool of €25,000, 10,000 euros in cash and 15,000 euros in non-cash prizes, for example, a REMUS exhaust system as well. Before I get cracking on with some practice here on the sim, we're going to be taking part in 6 races, plus a final race against Team Malmedie and 14 drivers. Yes, Matthias Malmedie, the presenter of the German TV show Grip, and his team is going to be our opponent. The races will take place from September to December. If you'd like to be part of the side to beat Team Malmedie, to break the silence with REMUS in the GT3 Championship, you have until the 16th of September to qualify for Team Shmuseum 150. You can find the link down below to download the Race Room racing experience for free, to give it a go, to get on board, and to hopefully be part of the winning team. For now, I need to get some practice in the sim, and I think this is going to be pretty good fun. Let's give this a go then. You can move a lot of things, the pedal set, the steering wheel, reposition it all. It's basically powered through the computer. So we've got the keyboard over here. I'm going to go into practice. It's amazing what you can do. We've got the Pagani Zonda R set here. We're going to Spa as well and literally go race. Now, I don't have the full speakers blasting out sound because it gets obviously pretty loud, but this is hydraulically operated. There is a surround sound speaker system, and I'm quite literally sitting in a racing sim. I feel like I need to get harnesses out and get obviously helmet, hands, like the whole everything, gloves, racing shoes. I mean, you probably could. This is, from my first experience, such a good system. This is the, as I said, Track Time 3Motion simulator rig, which is running the race room. Oh, here we go, everything lining up. This is where I've got to work out exactly what I do. So let's get ready to hear the Zonda R. Actually, let's turn it up a little bit. Oh, listen to that. This is full on. So out the pit lane at Spa-Francorchamps in a Zonda R. Let's try not to get this wrong though. Obviously a bit of a challenge. Oh yes. That sounds insane. Up through one of the most famous and challenging corners in the world. Listen to that. This is nuts. Right, let's test the braking. I can hear the backfires there. I can hear the flames popping out. Obviously, I've currently got traction and everything turned on. No, running a bit wide. Like I say, some learning is needed. First lap in this. This is nuts. This feeling is so cool. Every garage needs a sim like this. Every garage. This makes it the ultimate. I'm going to give it a pause there. That is so insane. I feel like I've just done a lap of Spa in a Zonda, in a Zonda R. Hours are going to be consumed on this. Hours. This is the coolest thing to have in the garage. Oh, adrenaline rush. As well as the SLS, we're taking the Taycan, which is being driven today by Schmark. Mark is here. How you doing?
How are you?
First time in a Taycan?
Yeah, first time. I drove the Audi e-tron GT, but not the Taycan yet.
And we have, it's 100%, isn't it?
Yeah.
Perfect. This is a bit of a test, by the way, because we want to get the percentage down, because I'm intrigued by the charging on the two different sides, and I want to basically test whether it makes a difference, which side you use. So you'll need to pull this out. We'll pull out the SLS, and then we'll get the journey started. Well, one is significantly louder than the other.
Tom, what are we doing now?
Well, the weather has come back. It stopped raining. It was only light, but it stopped raining. So I think, given the amount of dust on this thing, it's only right that this is the first thing to be pulled outside and be cleaned. I mean, this.
If it wasn't super clear before now, I love driving this car. The seating position way back towards the rear axle, massive bonnet out in front, even if it's a left-hand drive car in the UK, which I know is odd. Remember, I imported the car, and left-hand drive cars are significantly more affordable, we could say, than their right-hand drive equivalents. There were so few right-hand drive SLS Black Series, and to be honest, with the mileage I've done in this car, I think about 90% of it was on the continent in left-hand drive countries anyway, so this was completely the right choice. Anyway, we do have the new speakers in here. I haven't really talked about them yet because it's not all wired up. We don't have everything activated and configured, so we don't have any audio at the moment. That's the purpose of taking the car back, to finish it all off. We also have the new Android Auto system installed with a controller in the armrest, which I have not played with at all. I've been resisting that one until it's all done, until the car has been back to Cambridge Car Audio and had all of this signed off and basically fully activated, because it would be foolish to try and get ahead of myself. It was exciting enough after such a long time to get the car back again, just this series of events effectively taking it out of my possession for far longer than intended. And I know waiting for an engine wiring loom and an ECU are not exactly the biggest things in the world, but believe me, it was frustrating because I really wanted to get back behind the wheel, having not driven it either in November and December, having been thinking at the time, oh, the car's just having a chill for a moment, into manual, because whoa. Typical. Into manual. That will never ever never get boring. The end of an era, and we do have two very, very different cars out for today's drive. The SLS and the Taycan. It's going to be a bit of a cruise, really. Got about an hour and a half or so to go to get to Cambridge Car Audio. It'll be great to see Ardil and the guys there to run over things with this. And like I say, to get it completely signed off, it's going to take a week or two with them probably before I can pick it back up. I'm also heading abroad again as well, so that's coming up next. Some really cool stuff over in Germany with the GT4 and I think with the GTR Roadster. So stay tuned for everything on that journey. Back into automatic and cruise control, because why not? Take it easy. Aircon is really cold as well in here at the moment. Pop that back up a notch. And this is where this car excels so much. It's such a comfy car to cruise in as well. To just chill in and just, you know, sit back and take it easy and drive it like a dynamic, sporty Grand Tourer. Anyway, enough waffle. Let's make some progress over towards Cambridge Car Audio. The good news is that we have a little bit of a tunnel. Tunnel is always good. I need to drop down some gears though. This is mad. This is absolutely ludicrous. We've just taken the exit off the motorway then, and foolishly I had the car washed the other day, having expected that it would stay clear and dry, although that has sadly not been the case. It is drizzling, it was raining a little bit harder just now out there on the motorway as well. But of course this car will sit for the next week or two until it's had everything completed and we can come pick it up. And to be honest, I really cannot wait to hear how the sound system will actually sound, because I'm imagining this is going to be something very, very, very special, although pretty difficult to portray on camera because of what we can hear and what I can show. So we'll have to see exactly how that's going to go. Anyway, only a couple of minutes away, and we'll get this at the workshop at Cambridge Car Audio and see what's happening next. One SLS Black Series then back here, entering the workshop at Cambridge Car Audio, ready to get everything completed. We've just had a quick run through. We've got the demonstrator Mustang that I got to check out last time when I came to visit. In fact, things here have expanded since. I'm in some good company, in fact. 488 Spider. So we'll park up the SLS in the YouTube corner. Ardil just driving it at the moment. The colour is so nice. A quick run through of what needs to be done, and then see it again in the not too distant future.
Let's have a quick overview then of the system that the team here at Cambridge Car Audio are installing, or I should say have installed, into the SLS Black Series, a discrete Audison setup. So we've got new tweeters, mid-range, mid-woofers and subs, along with 3 amps, none of which you can really see. It's quite a subtle, discrete install. So the amps, for example, the Prima amps, are all back here beneath the parcel shelf. You can't see them at all, they're tucked away. We've got a mixture of speakers installed in various different locations, some of which have involved some bespoke A-pillars being produced, which are finished exactly to match the inside of the car, but basically it's all tucked away quite neatly and tidily, plus even the addition in here of a controller in the armrest, again very OEM, which controls the new Android Auto system running through the car's infotainment. So I'm looking forward to being able to try that out. But we had a look at all of these components, and they're all in here, they've been in here, but as I said, I've tried not to focus too much on it until we can actually hear how it's going to sound. So the process from now is to effectively reconnect it all, make sure everything is up and running, then to go through a series of different calibrations and programming stages, specific songs created for the purpose, to make sure that everything sounds the optimum and of course doesn't leave you with any rattles or unwanted noises or anything like that. And then it'll be time to get it back on the road. For now though, we're going to leave it safely in the hands of Cambridge Car Audio. I look forward to seeing it again in a week or two and then hearing the result.
A quick extra thing while I'm here as well, Cambridge Car Audio are doing a 10k subscriber giveaway over on their channel. Do go and subscribe, and somebody is going to be in line with winning a PS5 along with an Audison Prima amp like the ones that are in my car as well. All of the details and more down below and over on their channel.
Now it is time for a nice, calm, quiet, gentle ride home. The polar opposite experience in the Taycan. We will have to move some of the stuff inside here, but completely different type of drive in this car. I was wondering where my jacket is. I left it in the back of the Taycan. At least I've got the answer to that question now. Pop all of this away in here and then continue the drive onwards to home. It's quite fun to enjoy the passenger seat of the Taycan. Nice and chilled, relaxed drive, quiet. Still need that cracked windscreen replaced.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Being in the passenger seat with Sport Plus as well right now, and you get those electrical whirs. Oh my gosh, the torque is ridiculous. You don't get this sensation through the video, through the camera. This like ridiculous pull. It's not Tesla pad fast,
on road ahead,
but it's plenty fast, I think we can say. This is when I can actually make the most of passenger seat stuff and press some buttons and work out how all of this works. You can't quite see this, but literally duplication of the two screens. This is probably the most pointless option of a car ever. It looks fun, but you don't really want to do it for anything. You go into, I don't know, we've got navigation. Haven't really done much of this before. It kind of does
speed camera
what
reported
you
ahead.
expect. Then if I go to cockpit, does that give me driving data? Oh, there we go, that's cool. We get speed info, G-force, location. That's quite nice actually. Info you get in there, media, or off, back to standby screen. Here we go, in standby mode, back to the Taycan logo. Oh, nice, chilled road. Oh well, we're cruising. Gentle ride. How's the Taycan? I should ask you, your first drive in it.
Yeah, for me it's quite interesting because I drove the e-tron first, which feels more comfy and it's totally different, more Audi in its way it's set up. This feels like a Porsche, it drives like a Porsche, steers like a Porsche. It's so comfortable for a really big, heavy EV, which is similar to the e-tron, which is a touch more comfortable.
Yeah.
But it's so capable, this thing.
It glides, doesn't it?
It's-
And this is in Sport Plus right now. But so you drove the RS e-tron GT,
No, normal one.
a normal e-tron GT,
Yeah, not the RS.
not the RS. Interesting. So that's basically like a 4S of this, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's way more comfy and so capable. And also the other thing is I'm driving this in the UK right now, and of course the Audi I drove in Germany.
Slight difference in the roads.
Yeah, and it's it's like it's so easy to drive really fast on the autobahn, and then here you can't really drive really fast, so you can't really compare the characteristics of the car. But for me, this drives more like a Porsche. It feels more like a Porsche. It's the way it steers and makes you feel. It's really Porsche.
It's so cliche to say that this car feels like a Porsche. I've said that phrase so many times, but if you have ever experienced, I think, driving in a Cayman or a 911 or a Panamera or anything, the steering and the pedal feel is this.
Yeah, it's totally. And the interesting bit is, for me, it's that both cars are they're in the basis the same, but they're so different. So if you would drive them back to back, you would understand that one is an Audi and the other one is a Porsche. It's so you feel the difference, the way the engineer set it up. And also things like the regenerative power. You only have a button here to do this, and then you can't control it. In the Audi, you can control it. There's little things like opening. I think the bonnet is in the door of the Taycan, but it's also an e-tron GT. But it's where Audi would never put it. Like there you see these cars are the same, but slightly different. So it's so interesting to see that electric cars can be different.
But they do it like this.
Yeah.
58%. We've got, how many miles do we have? We've got 27 miles to go, so we'll be down to, I guess, something like 45% when we get back. Good test for the car. Good test for then plugging it in and seeing how long it takes to charge when we get back. Oh yeah. I tell you what, from a passenger ride point of view, it is a very comfortable car to be cruising in as a passenger. One of many reasons why I really quite like dailying this thing. As we make our way back to the Shmuseum.
We are back at base, which means it's time to go and plug this in. So, bear with me, I'm gonna head round. This is very easily done. We're down to, in fact, I just wanna have a quick look. What charge were we down to? 40 something percent?
Yeah, something like
Hit the
that.
battery button in the middle? What does it say? 44%. Okay, 44%. This is gonna be a bit of a time test to see what we end up with. Gotta take the cap off the end of this. A little bit awkward to do that one-handed, he says. There we go, got that off. Plug this in, just like that. We've got the blue light on, that's what we need. Blue charging light, this will connect, and it is, well, 5 o'clock-ish in the afternoon right now. We'll see how long this takes. Have a quick update shortly. This has now had somewhere in the ballpark of an hour and a half, perhaps about an hour and 20 minutes. So let's come and take a look at what charge we are up to from the 44% that it had earlier. That's not too bad, 66%, so it's charged 22% in an hour and a half. So I guess overall realistic usage, that is about 6, 7, 8 hours, that kind of thing, depending how low it had gone, but easily done during a full day in the garage. Obviously overnight, not an issue at all to get it fully back to what it was on before. It's probably the same speed one side to the other, I would imagine. Technically you can get a 22 kilowatt onboard upgrade. This car only has the 11 kilowatt, and if you have that, then this side would certainly go at double the speed of what you get on that side, which is reserved for the fast charging out and about. But still, learning a little bit, testing, trial and error, working out what works and what doesn't. That has been quite the day. The Taycan's charging is going well. Of course, we've dropped off the SLS Black Series over at Cambridge Car Audio, and in fact, we've popped the Clio right in the middle. It's going to have its new temporary spot just there. A big thanks to Tom and Brad cleaning up the Senna as well during the day, and so much more that's been going on. Of course, also with the announcement of the REMUS GT3 Championship. Don't forget, you can download Race Room Racing Experience. You can get involved up to the 16th of September ahead of the races that we're going to be doing with the €25,000 prize pool as well, all with REMUS and the championship. And I cannot wait. But how epic to have the simulator, the Track Time 3Motion simulator here at the Shmuseum. I have been looking forward to having one of these, and I know that countless hours are now going to be consumed playing on it as we go forwards. For today though, it has been another busy day here at the Shmuseum.